Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is a bit different because it's not just another gameplay, and it's definitely not a normal Battlefield video. This is the point where I finally explain why I stopped playing Battlefield 6. Since Season 2, I started writing down every single thing that bothered me about the game. Every bug, every frustrating mechanic, every design decision that made me question where this franchise is going. Over time, this turned into something much bigger than I expected. At this point, I have more than 40 pages of notes, ideas, and problems that I want to talk about. So this video is the beginning of that. I want to explain my reasons and my frustrations and my personal experience with Battlefield 6 in its current state. This is not meant to be a hate video, but an honest, detailed look at what went wrong, at least from my perspective. And I'm really curious to hear your thoughts as well, because maybe you agree with me on some of these points, maybe you see things completely different. Because of how much there is to talk about, this will most likely turn into a small series of videos. I want to go through the biggest problems step by step, from gameplay and balance to progression, content, and overall direction of the franchise. So grab a drink, get comfortable, and let's go into it. I'm going to show you the structure I made on how to progress through my criticism, so you can see what kind of issues I'm going to talk about. But first, I want to talk about the loss of Battlefield's core identity and one of my biggest complaints about the Battlefield 6. One of the reasons why I'm playing Battlefield less these days is that I feel like this series has strayed further and further from its own identity. To me, Battlefield often doesn't feel like Battlefield anymore, but rather like a big, chaotic arcade shooter with no clear direction. For me, Battlefield used to be primarily a game about combined arms. Infantry, vehicles, air support, and teamwork all worked together. Each role had its importance, and it was very precisely this interplay that made Battlefield unique for me. Today, I often feel that the focus is much more on the fast-paced infantry action. Large structured battles with clear roles are increasingly taking a backseat for me. Vehicles seem less important, while chaos and fast-paced individual combat dominate. As a result, the game loses exactly what made it special in the past. In older Battlefield games, I always felt that strategy and positioning played a big role. You had to think about, how do I attack a position, how do I use vehicles effectively, how do I coordinate with my squad, when is the right moment to push. Today I often perceive matches as a series of individual skirmishes rather than a coherent battle. Decisions seem less important because gameplay is constantly changing in a chaotic manner. For me, this makes the gameplay feel less tactical and less deep. Another point for me is the general direction of the gameplay. It feels faster, more hectic, and less military. Many mechanics seem designated to promote direct action rather than strategic gameplay. This gives me the impression that Battlefield is moving more and more towards a classic arcade shooter. Realism, atmosphere, and tactical planning seems less of the focus for me. I used to perceive Battlefield and Call of Duty as two completely different gaming experiences. Battlefield stood for large battles, tactical gameplay, strong vehicle roles, team play. Today, I often felt that the two games are becoming more similar. Modes such as ground war, in particular, seem very similar to what Battlefield now offers. For me, this is problematic, because it means Battlefield is losing its clear differentiation. What bothers me the most is the impression that Battlefield is losing its own DNA. The series used to stand for large dynamic battles, destruction as a tactical element, a military atmosphere, clear front lines, squad and team play. If these elements are not clearly noticeable in the gameplay, Battlefield feels interchangeable to me. I then have no clear reason why I should play this game instead of other shooters. Another big problem for me is the feeling of chaos. Enemies often come from all directions. Front lines hardly exist, and many situations feel random rather than controllable. I used to feel that matches developed. A front line emerges, teams fought for important positions, there were counter-offensives and strategic decisions. Today, I often find this structure lacking. As a result, I also lose the excitement that used to make Battlefield so special. As someone who has been playing Battlefield for many years, I see this loss of identity as the biggest problem facing the series. For me, bugs or balance issues are not the core of the crisis. Much more important is the fundamental design direction. If Battlefield loses its own identity, it also loses its future for me, because then there is no longer a clear difference between it and other shooters. For me, the loss of Battlefield's identity is one of the main reasons why I'm currently enjoying the series less. I would like to see Battlefield return to original strengths: combined arms, tactical depth, military atmosphere, team play, large structured battles. Because that's exactly what made Battlefield unique for me in the past.